Hello, this is Alejandro Bratti from Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business, and welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Single TV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Single TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices while you download, rate, and leave a comment. The app is free and is available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Roku, and all smart TVs. Today, I am really happy to have my good friend Chuck here with me. Chuck, I know that this is going to be amazing, and today I am very excited about this conversation with you.
Likewise, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on today, Alejandro.
So, this is believe in yourself, and one thing that we talk here and we believe is that all our beliefs are the thing that are helping us to grow or to limit ourselves and limit everything that is happening in ourselves. So it can be as simple as I think that I am good at business but not that good at family, and
Yes.
suddenly I focus all my efforts in business because family I am not good at that, so I don't know what to do there. So I prefer to be only in the thing that I am good, and that is only a belief that they have in their head, and that
Mhm.
it's stopping them to really become great with their families. So that's just one idea. So first, let's start with what you are doing now, Chuck, and then we'll start to go back to your life and start to understand where you're coming from.
Sure. No, thank you, Alejandro. So I am a co-founder of an institution called Your Best Life. And we are very much simpatico with your messaging, which is there's a lot of people who believe that you can fake it till you make it.
Mm,
And we choose to have a saying that you believe till you achieve.
mm,
And the belief system is so important to your point. It really comes to the core of who you are and your identity. And so our specialization is in business strategizing, helping people convert from being business operators to business owners. But even more so than that, it's really finding those nuances in self that allow them to believe that they actually deserve prosperity, that they deserve happiness, that they deserve
mm,
fulfillment. So many of these folks are great business people and they're really great at strategy. They know how to make money, but they don't know how to manifest happiness. And so we've spent the better part of 30 years in behavioral sciences helping people convert. I've spent so much time in volunteerism, and for the very same reason that you do, and that is to help people. When you see someone in pain and you go, gosh, you have so much prosperity in this part of your life, what people call success, and yet they're miserable because their marriage isn't as fulfilling or they don't feel close to their children. And so it's like, is it worth it?
yeah.
Hmm.
And even if you connect with health, for example, that is very similar. It's like suddenly like, okay, I don't care about my health because I am going up in the ladder, in the corporate ladder, in my life, and it's only one more step and finally I'm going to get there. And you are not taking care of yourself and the energy and everything that is coming from health. Suddenly you are like, okay, at the hospital, and you is like, I don't know what happened, but and it's like you really know what happened. The problem is that you didn't put any time to fix yourself.
Well, people overestimate what the cost is. In fact, let me rephrase it. They underestimate the amount of time, and time is the most fleeting currency that you have. It really is. I mean, if you look at what you're worth an hour, if you look what you're worth a moment. So there's this saying that I've heard from people for decades in business, and they go, "Oh, I'm going to spend the first half of my life amassing wealth, and then I'm
Mm,
going to spend all my wealth in the second half of my life trying to attain my health and vitality and my happiness back." It's like going, well, wait a second. I didn't know that that's how it was supposed to work. Well, the truth is it's not. It's that you can have this harmony. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Let's not get confused by the fact that people go, oh, I'm 50-50. No, no one's 50-50. You're the sum of all your parts. And we're looking for harmony because change is going to happen with or without you. The economy is going to change. Your position might change. AI might affect it. So we get to pivot. But it's finding this harmony, this movement, this ebb and flow that actually gives us more continuity and allows us to also decrease stress, which increases happiness.
and there is something that, and I am going deep because I really love this topic. But for example, I have seen a lot of CEOs that they are like being amazing and doing amazing things, and suddenly you start to see that they are having some problems, and it's like, and if you double guess, it's maybe a family thing. It's not really in the business. It's
No.
not really something that they are going through in the business, because they have the strategy and everything, but they think that they didn't care for a lot of times. Suddenly it's becoming a big ball of snow that
Yeah.
is like creating a lot of instability and a lot of things. And that's exactly what you are saying. It's like, it's not exactly about like work-life balance. It's about like, okay, learning to, like, I am a whole. I am not only one piece as work. And that's why even the title for today, like talking about life, finances, talking about family, that is important, because everything is part of you as a whole.
Sure.
Health is very important. It's part of what you really need. And I have even seen some people that says like, okay, I want to learn how to do this so I can sleep a little bit better and a little bit less, so I can do more. And it's like, why dream less? Like, it's that is very important in your life also. So
People will often forego self-care, and they will alleviate giving themselves the time and energy necessary in order to recuperate. And so they go, I'll just sleep less. And I said, well, if you do so, you're not detoxifying your brain, you're not recuperating your body. They actually did a study, and the people who live the longest sleep on average 6.5 hours a night. The people with the longest life cycles. And they figured out why. They go to bed when they're tired, but they're also fulfilled. They have spent time in engagement and made it worthwhile in body, mind, and spirit, not just in one area. And to your point, and you brought up something really important, Alejandro, and I commend you for this. Oftentimes, people will go to what we call the low-hanging fruit. They'll go, oh, I'm really good at business, so I'm just going to spend more time at the office. And I was one of those people for decades.
Me
And
too.
then I started asking myself a question. Yeah, it's easy to get caught in the trap, right?
Yeah.
And because I'm good at this. And people like giving you pats on the shoulder and going, oh, Alejandro, you're amazing. Oh, you're so good. You're great. It's like, excellent. And then I realized something. And I asked a very simple question. Why am I working so hard? Why am I working all the time? And it came to me, and I was like, so I can be a provider for my family, so that I can actually be that beacon and the example of what they need as far as masculinity, fatherhood, a doting husband, someone who's there to listen. But I would give everything I had, Alejandro, to everyone else. I was, heaven and earth. I'd move it for them. I would do whatever I needed to do for the client. And I did the same in volunteerism. And I started realizing that I was giving my time with my family away to others that didn't even know me.
Yeah.
In the hopes of contributing. So I created a saying, and it's that my family and I deserve the best of me and not what's left of me.
Yeah. That is powerful. That is really.
It shifted my identity, to your point, because we have a condition within the human psyche to remain consistent with what we believe we are. And anything that you say, to your point, you said this earlier in our conversation, anything that you put behind I am. So I am a father, I am an entrepreneur, I am a loving husband, I am a businessman, then that's your identity. Most people, though, have a tendency to gravitate towards one over another, though, especially if they're not having fulfillment in their relationship. Then they'll go, well, I'm just going to work more. You don't want me around anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and work harder. But there's not a time that your wife and your children don't want you around. The truth is, they love you, and they need you. They don't need more money. They don't need more things and stuff. Although I'll speak for myself. My 10 million-year-old monkey mind goes, oh no, I need to give them higher quality shoes. They need to be a name brand, or they need to have this car, or they need to have this size house, or they need to have this much money in the bank. And the truth is, that's not the truth at all.
And we even create some words that for us is like, wow, this is the reason. For example, in my case, I put a word like, I want to leave a legacy, and that's why I am doing all of this. And
Yes.
it's like my legacy is all this work that I'm doing. And really, my legacy is also the family that I have, also the kids that I decided to raise,
Yeah.
also my health, because how I can leave a legacy if I die at 45, it's like, so there is a lot of things that are important to check. So I want to go deep in your story because I know that we can go here another 30, 40 minutes happy talking about this. And really the idea of this is create awareness. So in your life, Chuck, start giving us some examples where you started to realize, like, okay, you had a belief before where you were working 24/7 to start to understand, like, no, I am not this. I am much more than this. I am much more than the CEO of this company. I am something bigger. What happened? How you had that awakening?
Well, it's very interesting you ask, and it happened recently, of all things. I'm 56 years young. I feel like a 20-year-old. My wife says I'm 12, and so that creates its own issues. She goes, "We have 4 kids." I was like, "Well, we only gave birth to 3." She goes, "Well, I gave birth to them, and yes, but you're the 4th one." So a couple years ago, during COVID, of all things. I had been spending a lot of time in a very high level community and traveling all over the world. I was a volunteer trainer. I was a volunteer, if you want to call it, a mentor strategist, and helping people at extremely high levels, CEOs, CFOs, multi decamillionaires, centimillionaires, and billionaires. These were the people that were in this community. And helping sponsor someone and supporting someone who is a very well-known personality. And I share this, they'll remain nameless because it's not important. What's important to note is I felt secure in being able to contribute my skill sets after 30 years and as a neurostrategist, being able to help people. And it felt really good. Felt really good. I didn't realize the cost though, because every time I went and helped someone else for a week, I was taking that week away from my family. And I thought they were behind me, and they were, because they love me and they love how I show up and what dad gets to represent and what my loving wife saw as far as a representation of a man, a masculine man. Long story short, during COVID, we weren't able to travel. And I decided to stop playing small. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and start my own business. And that's how Your Best Life came about. We were like, we want to travel. We want to see the world. That's fine if everyone wants to take a time out, but we're going to go ahead and live and prosper in life and continue to grow businesses and do what we do. So we opened a business, and then immediately I had my status in that community revoked. Like they just took it, like, boom, done.
Wow.
Oh, after 22 years, and it gets better. Then they decided to file legal action against us. So I'm like going, okay, this is different. Like I volunteer. I'm not even an employee, by the way. And I'm like, wow. And what this taught me is that there are a lot of communities and there's a lot of times in life where people will rally around a cause. But is the cause just? Is the cause worthy? Without question, the community and this environment has cultivated my closest friends in life. I'm grateful beyond measure. And I will say this, I learned so much. On the other side of it, I paid for my education in blood, sweat, tears, time, energy, intention, my heart, my soul, my integrity, and one other thing, my time, which is invaluable. You can't put a price tag on my time. And so I share this with you because it wasn't because I thought I was playing and the truth was I was hiding at a very high level. I was in a community that fostered this opportunity, but it didn't give me the ability to grow. It gave me the ability to say yes.
And in this area that you are talking, if you can explain a little bit of what happened in the process, because at the end it's like, okay, you are giving 22 years of your life being part of this organization, you are growing, you are feeling that you are at the top of the mountain and everything is fine. Suddenly COVID came and started to change things. Tell me, like, what was happening when they told you, okay, thank you very much, but no thank you, and what happened inside of you, like,
Oh,
Show us like the
it was
job.
a firestorm. Yeah, it was a firestorm. My whole identity was around being a servant leader. My whole identity was being around a successful businessman, a husband, father, friend. And all of a sudden, 50% of me was taken away. Like it literally was, it was like, no, you're done. You're not allowed in this community anymore. We don't want you associating with anyone. We don't want you affiliating with anyone. And it was like, okay, that's a shame. And in fact, it came in the form of an ultimatum, Alejandro, which was either you quit this so you can stay with us and volunteer, or we're cutting you off. And I made a determination, because this is a big one. In life, you're going to be given ultimatums.
Yes.
Someone else's opinion of you is none of your business. This was the number one lesson. This was a huge one for me, because I'd always cared about what these people thought about me. And when I
what you are talking is, for me, it's amazing, because you are touching at one point that is key, is identity.
Yes.
And when you are talking about identity, I can see that happening with everyone. It's like suddenly, if you are putting 24/7 to a job, suddenly that job becomes your identity. If you put like, and it can be what you are saying at a church. I know that what you are talking is not about a church, but
No.
that is something that is very similar. Suddenly, like, okay, everything in the church is my identity, and I am not saying that it's wrong, the church or anything that is happening, or this organization that you went, or other things. We put our identity there, and that's our responsibility. And so, tell us a little bit how you work in yourself to become like, okay, I want to get back my identity.
Exactly. Well, what I realized is that my identity, I've been living a false identity. I've been living an identity of servitude that is who I am. But how you give and why you give are two different things. See, you can give all different ways, and you are not the culmination of what you do. You're the culmination of who you be. So we have a saying in our family: you can be doing your best, but never being your best. When you're being your best, you'll always do your best. And the presupposition is you're going to do your best with the resources you have available now, in the state that you're in now, and in the presence that you have now. And you don't blame it. You don't make it right or wrong. You measure millimeter or a mile. Are you making progress? Are you progressing forward? Because progress equals happiness. So the shift in me was a very simple one, Alejandro, and it was an identity. And it's that I'm not broken. I'm a good person. And I asked myself a moral question. I said, have I ever wronged anyone in that environment? And the truth was, no, never. That was never my intention. And as a point of fact, I was looking at it as, in a world of self-help and life enhancement and growth and development, what would some of my mentors do if they saw a hole in the marketplace that needed some fulfillment? And I said, they would step in and take action. I just followed what my mentors would do. And what was great about it is now, after a couple of years, we have a thriving company with amazing, family members and membership. We're traveling together. We're growing businesses. And the best part is I get to take my wife on all these trips. In 22 years, she never went on a trip with me in the other environment. She's going with me on all the trips from this point forward. And it's beautiful. It's the family that strives together, thrives together. I see so many times in the world of self-help and development, I was working on me and they go, isn't that selfish? I said, no, it's necessary. Here's the difference though. When you're really in love with someone, if you're both seeing the same information and having experiences and they're your own unique experiences, you get to bring that together and it creates this wonderful, wonderful meal. It's not like, oh, one of you is a protein, one of you is a starchy carbohydrate, one of you is a vegetable, one of you is dessert. No, it's the meal that's savory. It's the meal that's the experience. And that's been the shift for me, is that I'm a much more evolved human being now. But there was one thing, and you asked me what was the one thing. I had to forgive myself. I had to learn how to forgive myself. And it was a challenging exercise for a couple months. Thank goodness I have the most amazing woman in my life that I've been with for 34 years. And I have business partners who are, just knowledgeable beyond their years. And it's helped me become a better man.
So that was exactly another one that I was going to ask you, like how much time it was and what was even the process. Because sometimes we think like, okay, you say it so easily here that suddenly it feels that, okay, it was just a shift of one thing in 1 minute, and suddenly you are here and you are exciting and you are thriving and even the words. And that's what I want to give everyone. It's like suddenly you can be thinking about like, okay, I am already a business owner, that my business can become my identity. What happens when that business stop working and it's like, oh, now I am nothing, and you start to think that all of that, it's
Sure.
similar to what you are saying.
Yes.
So even
When
the process to like get to the point of thinking that I have to forgive myself, that is not very easy.
No, it's actually very cathartic though. It's very healing. And so there's three questions that I boiled it down to that help shift things quickly. I'm talking in 90 seconds. I mean, so the first question is how am I feeling now?
Mm.
Not about how am I feeling now as I'm sitting here? How do I feel? And I feel blessed and amazing to be here with you having this conversation. So I asked myself the second question then, and that is, what does this mean? Feeling this way, what does this mean? It says, I am grateful, I'm flattered, I'm honored that we get to share this information and share it with the world.
Mm.
Then I asked myself a third question. How do I need to feel instead? I go, well, I'm already grateful, so I guess I could be even more grateful and more adulated. Now, people go, okay, how does this work when you get triggered negatively? See, here's the interesting part. No one ever says they're triggered positively. They only say they're triggered negative. Oh, I was triggered. And they go, and I had a visceral response and it was bad and I didn't feel good and I was frustrated and aggravated and jealous. And I was like, oh, okay, time out, breathe. Woosah. Okay. Yeah, because motion creates emotion. So physiology first, move your body, help get out of it. But here's the ticket though. If you ask yourself, how was I feeling? Go, oh, I was frustrated. I was angry. How dare they do that to me? This is what came into my mind. If I relit, I go, wow, how dare they? How dare they judge me? How dare they give me an ultimatum? Okay, what does this really mean? I said, well, they really don't know what I'm doing. They don't really know my heart. I thought these people knew me. They knew me. They didn't know me. Oh, well, I can't judge someone if they don't know me. I can't. In fact, that'd be rude to judge someone. So let's get rid of judgment. Let's go ahead and eliminate trying to abolish someone or give them a punishment for what they don't know. I said, so how do I need to feel instead? I said, whole, complete, honest, authentic, real. I go, wow, am I feeling all those ways? I go, not when I let them take control of my universe, not when I let their influence. There's a beautiful saying, your story is not yours to keep, it's to share. Because sharing is caring. And so when we share, we allow people to have access to our vulnerability. But there's another part that's even more important. And that is, no one cares what you have to say until they know how much you care.
Okay.
So why? Well, I needed to care enough about myself so that I could go ahead and immediately allow myself and move over so that I could get in my lane and be aware and be myself. Because I was being a part of myself, but not the whole of myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can't honor all of you except your right arm. And you go, oh, this is the bad part. This is the part that doesn't work. And I go, okay, well then anything that I judge, I lose access to. I lose access to its gifts and talents and its abilities. Well, I was losing access to the parts of me that were necessary to grow the business. I was losing the parts of me that made me a loving, doting husband and father. And I was like, wow, then I have to stop the judgment. And the first person I need to forgive is me.
Yeah, and everything starts. So let's go in that part of forgiving yourself, because sometimes we decide, like, even for example in my case, I started to create a lot of problems, and I did a lot of mistakes financially in the past. And when I was doing that, the first thing that I started to do is like, okay, the reason that I am taking all this bad decision is this person, because this person was creating a lot of noise in my head, and he was creating that. And then I started, oh no, but I remember that this other person also created a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to find people to blame about the problems that you created.
Yes.
And until the moment that I started to realize that it was a thing that I have like here that I didn't want to hear, I didn't want to see, but it
Right.
was part of me.
Yes.
I started to open the eyes like, oh my God, I am the person to blame, not anybody else, because I am the responsible of my life. It doesn't matter that people can say whatever they want, as you were saying, good things or bad things. But I am responsible for my life and my financials and for everything that I am doing. And if I
Yes.
don't take that responsibility and I try to give it to others, I am not managing my life. So until I start to see this and I start to bring it like to in the front, and oh, now I see it. And yeah, it's you, Alejandro. Now you have to forgive yourself. So tell us a little bit how was that
Sure.
for
Well, part of it is having people that you trust. See, you can actually measure the top 5 people you spend the most time with is who you become.
Mm.
And so if they're people of high character, I could not pick a better inner circle than the people that I've surrounded myself with. And here's the best part, Alejandro, is that when you give them permission to stand for you, they will be honest with you and tell you the truth always, because they're doing it from a place of love. So you don't question the motive or the intention.
Mm.
That became really important for me, because here's the challenge for many people. You can't see your own blind spots.
Yeah.
When you're all lined up in a row and it's like, hey, my brother Alejandro's to my right, my brother Eduardo's to my left, and it's like, hola, ¿cómo estás, mi amigos? You know, how's everything going? And it's like, okay, great. And you're looking at each other, but we can't see the bus that's behind us that's coming. Why? We're so looking at and we're focused on the same things, and where focus goes, energy flows. And the challenge becomes is that we haven't given permission for people to be looking around and like, oh, whoa, hey guys, move over. The bus is coming. We're gonna get run over.
Mm.
This was the biggest lesson for me, is that I thought I needed it. I was the one that needed to change. I thought I was the one that needed to fix everything. I thought I was the one that needed to take on all this responsibility. And what I found out was it was a we mentality and a we heart set that was going to allow my mindset to shift, not a me mindset.
Mm.
When we make it about we, you become more universal and you give up things that don't serve you. And you actually allow other people and empower other people to live in their gifts and talents. And it shifts everything, everything.
And that connects exactly what you were saying in a conversation that we had, that talking about like, okay, you can be the business owner, but is the business working for you, or are you working for the business? So suddenly things start to happen, and it's like, no, but I have to have the control, because if not, somebody else will take it. And that mindset of thinking that I have to control every single thing is it's stopping you to really become who you are supposed to be.
Well, control is a very deceptive term. And here's the difference. Most people in their businesses think that being the owner gives them control. Not true. I'll give you a perfect example. Bill Gates. He owns less than 10% of Microsoft. Yet he's one of the wealthiest people on the planet, and he controls the company. Wait, how can that be? He only owns less than 10%. He's smart. He understands that his vision and where he sits in the company gives him insights and distinctions as to how it functions. And people trust him because he is proven himself to create value consistently. See, no one just buys a product. A product, if it's a valuable product, then they buy it because they need it. There's a difference between wants and needs.
Mm.
And I'm sure you've experienced this with your children. Poppy, I saw this on TV. I want it. And then they'll go, I need it. I need it, Daddy. Give it to me. And you're like, wait, do you really need it? Do you really need another Furby? Do you really need another doll? Do you really need another Transformer or, Hot Wheel? Well, no, they want it. But here's the thing with needs and wants. Perfect example. I need transportation. I want a Ferrari. Well, why a Ferrari? Oh, come on. You show up in a Ferrari, everyone knows you're doing business. And it's like going, okay, how are you going to show up in the Ferrari with your wife and your 2 kids when it's a 2-seater? I didn't say it was a good choice. I just said it was really cool because we showed up fashionable. But so it wasn't what you needed. It's what you thought you wanted because of status or something else. And I said, when we get in alignment, when we get into that harmony, what we start to find is we go, oh, you know what we got instead? We ended up getting a Tesla X. Why? Because it seats 7 people, it's economical, it's electrical, and it can park in tight spots. My wife loves driving it. I love driving it. It seats everybody. It's a safe vehicle. I go, okay, great. And it's faster than the Ferrari. So, people go, wait, what? I said, it's faster and more powerful than the Ferrari. And it has less maintenance. And they go, then why wasn't I thinking about that? I said, because it's not flashy. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles. You can get a bright metallic red one, and I'm sure you'll get a lot of looks in it. But my point in being is, when we honor our needs, our wants actually get fulfilled. Not the opposite way around.
And I am loving this. So let's start to see other areas in this wheel that we are talking at the end. It's like a wheel of life that we are talking. So other areas that you started to see that, okay, how was your belief before and what you needed to do to change that belief to start to be fulfilled again in that area that you want to share here?
Sure. So spirituality was one. It got to the point where I was on these trips so often that I wasn't able to go to church. And because I'd be in a foreign country, I'd be, in service. I'd be up at dark 30 in the morning, 6 a.m. And I would literally be going till 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I'd sleep for 2.5 to 4 hours maybe, and then do the same routine over and over and over again. And so when you're in service to others, it really is a calling. Now people go, you must have been exhausted. I said, no, that's the amazing part. When you're in flow and you know how to manage your energy, you're bringing in energy and expending energy. It's this amazing cycle. So, but I started finding that I wasn't feeling full. I was feeling satisfied, but not full. What's the difference? Well, I knew how to perform to create value for other people. And when they're grateful, you feel somewhat whole. But it's temporary.
Yeah.
Because it's dependent on getting someone else's feedback. So I said, oh, what was the biggest shift? They go, how is that spiritual? I said, because spirituality comes from within you. It comes from, if you believe in God, if you believe in the Holy Ghost, if you believe in Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, if you believe in Allah, Buddha, the Torah, the Bible, whatever the case might be. I said, you might be agnostic. You might be, a complete Scientologist. That's okay. But the energy is all around you. And there's one thing that I know for a fact. We're all made of the same stuff. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. That's the building blocks of the universe. You throw carbon in there and boom, you've got planet Earth. And so I looked at that and I said, okay, if I'm made of this, you're made of this, all these other people are made of this, the seat I'm sitting on, the air I'm breathing, I said, I'm swimming in a sea of energy. And I'm a being of light. The universe created me in its image. We may have different skin, different eye colors, even different ethnicities. We're both human beings. We're part of the same race.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, this is beautiful. To your point, change doesn't come from outside of you. Spirituality doesn't come from the outside of you. It comes from within you. Because it's the core, it's that spark that ignites you and allows you to be connected with everything else. So another family saying, you don't have to take the hard way out. You can take the easy way in. And that's what I chose to do. I chose to allow myself to not be broken, to not be something that needs to be fixed, to not be wrong, but to be me. To be me. And I go, there's nothing more perfect than you being you, because there's no one else like you.
Wow. So, and this is like maybe the third time that I hear you talking about a broken. That sometimes that's how you are feeling sometimes. And broken, when you are talking about that, you are connecting with how you feel inside, because that's another word that people can like, okay, broken, he's talking about financials and he doesn't have the money to pay anything.
Sure. So it could be financial, it could be family, it could be fitness, it could be in faith. There's many ways to feel broken. Broken means in some ways confused or misaligned. It's kind of like when you're in alignment, body, mind, and spirit, everything is flowing. Everything, you don't even have to worry about things. Everything is just fluid and clean, and everything makes sense. Broken means in a wider sense that we're having some struggle or discord or disagreement with self. It's a powerful word because for me, there was a time in my life I felt broken in my youth. And it had more to do with segregation and being different ethnicities, but that's for another story. I'll say this. What I found is that what most people look at being a hindrance is actually their gift. You know, I have a nephew who is autistic. I have a niece who's Down syndrome. And they are two of the happiest, most well-adjusted human beings I've ever met in my life. They are so gregarious and so loving and so fun, and life is so simple, and they see things in a different way. They have a very different perspective of the world. And I so honor that because it gives them uniqueness that I may or may never experience. I experience it at my level in my way, but they get to experience it at a whole nother level.
Wow.
And
so the other day happened that I have been working in confidence and other things in my life for a while. And I was feeling like, okay, I am already like there. I am exciting. I love how am I and everything. And I had the experience of connecting about like, okay, start to see a role model and start to feel how another person is in confidence.
yes.
And when I saw that and I started to connect like in a meditation mode, suddenly I was like, oh my God, there is other levels of of confidence and all the other levels. So, and that's what I'm hearing what you are saying. And it's like
Yes.
sometimes we think that, okay, I am at the top of the world and suddenly in this area of my life, it's amazing. And just as a summary of what we have talked until now, if you start to open your eyes to start to see like what are other areas in your life that are creating the problem, like the one that I was talking about, the financials here, that it's hidden, that you don't want anybody to see. What happens is if you start to work on that and start to open your eyes to see like, okay, let's forgive myself even in this little area that I don't want anybody to see.
Right. Well, it's healing, but the other part is too, and I'll remind people of this. And in neurolinguistics programming and neurosocial conditioning, and even in hypnotherapy, the brain does not understand negativity. The brain doesn't judge. It's binary. It's black and white. So if I tell you as an example, do not look for the elephant. As you look around, I don't want you to look for the elephant. Yeah. 99.9% of the people will start going, there's an elephant? Where's the elephant? And the reason being is that the brain is looking for evidence. It's not the fact that we said, don't look for the elephant. It heard elephant. And it's like, oh, there's an elephant? I love elephants. They're really cool creatures. Oh, there's an elephant? I'm fearful of elephants. The point in being is that the brain looks for it. And so whatever you resist persists. So even if you tell yourself, you know, okay, fix the money problem. I go, okay, great. So how do you fix a money problem? I say, you look at things that create prosperity. You look at things that create fundamental happiness and value. So now we don't have to concentrate on the problem. we are going to go ahead and manifest the solution. We are going to go ahead and put our focus, our time and energy and intention on things that serve. I didn't manifest being depressed or aggravated or frustrated when they took this away from me, because the truth was I made a decision and I gave myself freedom and empowerment to move to a much higher level. In essence, what I did, Alejandro, and what you do on a daily basis, my friend, is we raised our standards. See, when we set new standards, it's not an outcome. When we set the standard, it's fluid. Sometimes we're going to surpass the outcome, that, you know, the standard. Sometimes we're going to be just below it, but we're always going to be around the gravity of the standard. And our standards, we constantly strive to meet and exceed and achieve. So that's beautiful. Unlike an outcome or goal, and the only way it's an outcome or goal is if you judge it. Did you pass or fail? But you don't judge a standard. You raise or lower your standards. Wait, it's adjustable? Wait, what? We could do that? I was like, you sure can.
So your top of the world is not exactly the top of the world. There is another level that you can go, and that's something that you can decide if you want.
It wasn't that long ago, people thought the world was flat and you're going to sail off the edge because that's as far as you could see. Yeah. And so it's the same thing. Right now we think, oh, our universe, you know, they said it's 9 planets. And I'm like going, we're one small Milky Way in a vast universe. We're one galaxy. There's millions of these galaxies. And I go, how arrogant is it to think that we're the only life? How arrogant is it? I go, no, we're the life on this planet. We get to enjoy this space that we call home, Earth. I go, what a blessing that is. What a blessing. I woke up this morning and I'm breathing. My heart's beating. I get to engage with my brother Alejandro. We get to have this amazing, you know, conversation. This is what life is about. It's about how we flavor it. And as human beings, we're looking for the essence as to how we can actually be more involved. See, I have a simple belief, and it's a very simple one. One of the top needs that we have as human beings is connection. The second one right behind that, that's a higher level of standard, is love. The one beyond that is passion. That most people will settle for connection and aspire for love.
And there is another one.
Oh, there is. Enlightenment, spirituality, you know, nirvana, like the Dalai Lama. There's always another level. And the truth is, we don't have to judge it. We get to enjoy the journey.
And quick question, because we have talked a lot, like, I love when you started to talk about the spirituality and connecting yourself. So I know that there is a lot of things that happens to us, and this is something that we do. I want to know from your point of view, or what do you do when things happen and you are completely out of exactly that alignment that we're talking here? What are the things that you do to bring back the alignment and start to feel connected and start to feel the love and the passion and all the things?
Yes. The number one thing I do first, and this is always, I stop and slow down. It's very easy to get caught up in the emotion and emotion of what's going on. Slow down. Second thing, I box breathe. I breathe in for 4 seconds, I hold for 4 seconds, I exhale for 4 seconds, and I hold for 4 seconds. And I do this for several minutes. What that does is it actually gets your EKG and your EEG in synchronous rhythm.
Yeah.
So it's called box breathing, but I breathe in my heart. And I ask myself, first of all, I bring my attention to my heart and I just say, thank you, universe, for taking care of me. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for my amazing wife. Thank you for my remarkable children. I'm so blessed. And in that gratitude, I have found that trading appreciation for expectation, because the only time we get frustrated and the only time we get taken out of our state is when our life conditions don't match our expectations.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to close this gap. Yeah. And what happens in appreciation is that the expectations melt away and the appreciation takes over. And now those standards start to become very fluid. And you'll find immediately that the tension and stress leaves your body and that you actually feel much more connected and whole. Because now you're connected with all the energy around you. Everything is flowing through you, with you, in you. That simple exercise has saved more marriages, more lives from people who are suicidal, and allowed them to find their own space and grace.
And this is exactly what we want to bring here. Is start to open the eyes to. There is two things that I want to give as a summary, and I love what you are talking here, Chuck. Is the first one, start to see the things that you have, like here, that you don't want to see, and how you can forgive yourself about that, because
Yes.
forgiveness is very important to elevate you and start to connect you with this synchronicity that we are talking. And the second one that you mentioned right now, that it's, I believe those are the two most, one of the most powerful things that you can do: forgiveness and gratitude. When you have gratitude and you start to have the mindset of, I don't know why, but I have to be thankful about this. And suddenly think about all the good things that you are grateful about, that thing that maybe it's creating all the chaos in your life. Suddenly things start to open, and suddenly you start to see the beauty of that thing. So
Yeah.
forgiveness and gratitude is,
And I'll remind us too, Alejandro, that nothing is a have to. There's only certain things you have to do. You have to breathe. You have to drink water because you can only go minutes without air. You can only go out or days without water. You can only go weeks without food. Having shelter is extremely important from the elements, especially to take care of your family. But the last one is we get to connect and love. So love and connection become very important. But these are the needs that we have. And when we honor those needs, all of a sudden other things become less complicated.
yeah, yeah. So, Chuck, if people want to connect with you, know more about you, know things that you are doing, how they can do that?
It's really simple. We have two websites that you can check us out at. You can either go to chuckfhogan.com or you can go to yblnow.com. So yourbestlifenow.com. And they're really about finding out more about yourself. It's more than anything else, Alejandro, to your point, and thank you for this opportunity to connect with you. This has been a brilliant conversation. The world only gets better by sharing. And you've spent so many years of your life dedicated towards helping people grow and supporting their dreams and their progress. And I've done much the same. What I've found now is that when we give people better questions that they can ask, it actually helps everyone elevate. It actually raises the standard for everyone because
Yeah,
our
yeah,
standards are going to be different. And that's beautiful. We get to honor all of them.
yeah. So I really enjoy that. I enjoyed this meeting today, Chuck. It was really amazing, and people that you were listening, really, there was a lot of like golden nuggets here. So thank you, Chuck, for this time together. Do you have one last comment or phrase or thing that you want to say? Like, okay, this, if you don't remember anything that we talked, I want you to remember this little thing. What is that?
Yes. It's a saying from Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said. They'll even forget what you did. They will never forget how you made them feel.
Mm,
So be authentic, be real, share who you are, and let people know how much you care.
awesome. So thank you, Chuck. Thank you, everyone that was here today. It was really an amazing conversation. I really enjoyed every minute today. So it was really fulfilling everything. So this show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and leave it. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you all. Bye bye. Tan, tan.